How would you like to discover your superpower? Christiane Schroeter will tell us how. And what's so special about Christiane is she is a TEDx speaker, best-selling author, business and wellness coach, and professor of marketing and entrepreneurship. And with a PhD in health economics, she blends academic insight with real-world strategy to help entrepreneurs achieve big results through small and strategic actions. So I checked out your website and I'm so curious about how entrepreneurs can discover their superpower with small wins. Now, I'll tell you this, as a Titan, okay, as an awakened Titan, I don't like small wins. I always like to win big. So how does someone settle for small wins? And why are small wins so important towards progress and discovering your superpower? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Oh, I love that. And actually, I would consider myself a Titan too. I mean, I just gave a TED Talk, and I think TED Talk sounds like I just managed that Titan right there. That was a big win, right? So in general, I think those small wins matter so much on those days when you may be struggling a little bit, where you look back at your day and you're like, I don't even know I did anything productive today. Well, take a look and maybe zoom in a little bit on those individual little tasks. And all of a sudden, you're going to notice you are way more productive than what you initially thought. And that's what's going to give you the motivation on the next day. So, of course, we want to get the Titan win, the big win ultimately. Those small wins create the momentum that you need to get there.
Thank you. Now, for me, I find that I have this, you can say like this camel kind of like approach to what I do, in the sense of like sometimes I'm in this ultra productive mode where I set everything like the entire day to a T, like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6:30 and I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this. And it feels really awesome for a while. And then something really minute happens that ruins that entire scheduling, whether it's like I have a migraine or I don't know, I don't feel like doing this today, right? And now sometimes I'm incredibly organized and I power through. And other times I don't. And when I don't, I just get this feeling like the Titan has fallen. And now, what am I going to do now? I feel like I have failed. And I cannot cope with failure really well. I mean, I cannot cope with failure at all. And in those moments where I feel like, oh my God, I have failed, then I could be down for 20 days, like thinking about, oh my God, I didn't set my goal and therefore I didn't like achieve my goal. Therefore I'm a failure. And then because of that, like, I could be not feeling great for like 20 days. So I'm wondering, like, how does an entrepreneur who is like holding themselves to a really high standard, how do they cope with that kind of like, you can say with their emotions, so that they can always aim towards their superpower and not be held down by, their inability to keep their promises to themselves?
I love that question. So I have two acronyms for you that I would love for the audience that struggles with that same issue. Write these acronyms on sticky notes and put them in the mirror of your bathroom, next to your computer, maybe on your refrigerator, wherever you will see them the most, right? The first acronym is going to be FAIL, FAIL. Stands for first attempt in learning. Did you ever think about that when you fail? So be it. That was just your first time figuring out something. Doesn't mean that the second time you do it, you're going to do it the same way. You're going to do it differently because you learned from your first attempt in learning your fail, right? So that's your first acronym right there. Second acronym, write on another sticky note, NO for no. All what it stands for is just next opportunity. if you feel that you worked on something and then you're really hard on yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't do it to the potential that I could have as a Titan, just tell yourself, next opportunity. There's something else out there for me and it's just waiting, but I need to keep going. I need to keep getting up and I need to go after it.
Thank you. Tell us, what does discovering your superpower mean to you?
I think it means that you tap into your unique value proposition and you share that with the world, making the world better because you are uniquely lined up with what you're really supposed to be.
Thank you. So tell us more specifically, what is your superpower and how do you feel like you empower, I don't know, yourself or the world with your gifts?
Yeah, so my unique gift is I empower. I have a lot of energy. When I speak, people usually walk away with a smile on their face. And I have the unique ability in translating something complicated into something fun, relatable. So they get a complex situation translated and they walk away with energy to where they're feeling, I'm going to do this right now. I know exactly what to do. That's my superpower. So I'm a starter.
Thank you. What do you think is holding people back from discovering their superpower?
For sure, it's frequently comparing yourself to others and thinking they are doing something that I could do, so why should I do it? They're already doing it. And that is hard on yourself because, of course, there are always other people that are doing something, but nobody does it the way that you do it. So you have to figure out what is your unique value, what is your white space, your niche that you would add to this saturated market of everybody else, because we're just waiting for you to show up and share your unique gifts with the world. And that's really where people struggle with, that they think, oh, everybody else is already doing it, so why should I, right?
Thank you. What else is stopping people from discovering their superpower?
It's frequently the fact that you never really sit down and think about what your unique superpower could be. So on my podcast, Happy Healthy Hustle, it's the number one question. What is your superpower? And I cannot honestly tell you how many people have never thought about this. They don't know what they're good at. They don't know what other people seek them out for, what they could help with. And it's just the moment of reflection that is so important. Examine what works, what feels good, and what steps you will take next. That most people don't do that. They just always go, 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 but they don't exactly examine. Hold on, this is something I'm actually really good at. Maybe I should do more of that. That is, I think, what's stopping a lot of people, the moment of reflection that does not happen enough.
Thank you. What about people who have too many superpowers? How can they discover their ultimate superpower they should be focusing on?
Well, I think we are all good at a lot of different things. Like, think about it like it's a buffet. And there's so many great things you could pick. But ultimately, you get one plate and then you put things together that create something that works really well, like a plate of appetizers. And the way that you put this together, all these different skills, are what your superpower really is. So maybe I can energize people because I'm really empathetic and I know how to read the room. So that's a superpower in itself. Or maybe I can energize people because I'm a good communicator. So you just need to figure out, how do I put these skills together that at the end of the day, I can reach out and I help others? Because the best entrepreneurs, of course, you always need to think is like, all right, so now I figure out what I'm really good at. How can I provide this to others so that I'm in service of others? And that's really when you're figuring out how the unique superpower comes together.
Thank you. How can someone figure this out? Like, how can someone figure out not only what their superpower is, but how to implement it in order to empower other people?
Well, one thing is, and you see that behind me, I have books that I wrote. One of them called Discover Your Superpower. One of them is, it's as simple as texting your friends. And that's maybe to get the ball rolling and get started. Ask your friends, what am I really good at? What would you seek me out for? What is it that, I mean, that sounds really funny, but what would you put on my gravestone to remember me by because I was amazing at, right? What are some skills you would put into a description of me when I'm not in the room? So all this, and if people don't know it, that is a reminder to you that you need to work on clarifying your skills a little bit more and make yourself stand more out. So superpower discovery is not just like purely for selfish reasons, but it's really to let others know that you're amazing at something and how you can provide that unique gift to the world.
Thank you. How does someone, let's say, who has already discovered their superpower and has figured out how to implement it, how do they stay in that flow so that they feel like being in their superpower and not kind of come out of it and not get distracted by hundreds of, scrolling through social media or other things that are less important they could be doing?
I think one of the main things, keep in mind, so I'm a business and wellness coach, that your business will only thrive when you take care of yourself. So when you feel you're getting out of your flow, most frequently it's because maybe you did a lot of emphasis on business work. And that means you might need to take a step back and connect more with yourself and really figure out, all right, so what do I really need right now? And then once you take that step back, you can come back to your business and you're going to see your business is going to be thriving again. So it is kind of like a two-way street where you need to take care of yourself to make sure that you are the most amazing person on the planet that runs that business, because only then your superpower will really shine.
Thank you. How can an entrepreneur look after himself? What are the kind of practices and routines or habits someone could do to be in the best possible shape so they feel in flow?
I think frequently we think about self-care as something that's like visible, right? You go shopping or you get a haircut or get a pedicure, where I think the most important self-care is actually invisible. It's something that happens in your mind, and that's not necessarily something that we see on the outside. Maybe people notice that you seem more relaxed and you're smiling more, but it's not necessarily something that even requires you to spend any money. So you could, for instance, go for a nature walk, or in the morning start reading a book you always wanted to read, or call a friend you haven't connected with. So I call it the connection, collaboration, community that really builds your mental state. And at the end of the day, when you look back at your life, those are the things that matter the most anyway. So the more you take care of yourself, the more you're going to come back to your business and you feel completely refreshed because you connected with people that told you about their problems. You saw opportunities in solving the problems. And at the same time, of course, you also feel that you took a step back, and with second eyes, now you look at this, whatever, website, podcast, recording your book, and you're like, okay, now I know what to do because I took some time off and I'm coming back and I'm feeling re-energized.
Thank you. What are some techniques you use to feel radiant?
I think for me, it's really hydration, right? I drink a lot. I go outside into the fresh air and I smile a lot. I mean, that's so simple. So I really make sure that when I connect with people, even when I drive a car, I make sure that I'm not frowning while I'm driving my car, but I'm actually like having, a smile on my face. And I think that it comes down to, there's so much stress already in the world and in our daily lives. It's just the simple things, drinking water or tea. I drink a lot of tea, taking care of yourself by connecting with others, and then just like kind of like reframing how you show up in a room as well, kind of like creating positive energy, because that's really what's always needed. There's never a moment where I feel like, oh gosh, these people are already so happy they don't really need me. It's never like that, right?
Thank you. I'm traveling at the moment, and anywhere I travel, I always make sure to smile, and I'm having a really great time. But what I find is, for example, today I had a really bad news that was like business-wise related, and it took me off track. Okay. It made me, you can say, a little bit depressed. Just hearing that out, it was like a technical thing that happened. And I'm wondering, when someone is feeling off track, emotionally down because of something that's happening in their business or life, how can they come back to their superpower when they feel like really low?
Oh, I love that question for so many reasons, because I think there's something that's called visibility, right? But also the visible vulnerability. You're vulnerable because you care. And we really care. And when we show that we care, it makes us more human than, say, using AI, for instance. So frequently when I work with clients and they sometimes like, oh, your energy seems kind of off today. I sometimes even say, I had some issues or whatever, technology didn't work out, or there was a hiccup in my book writing journey or something. And it's so normal because we all have that. So what you need to do in those instances is just you need to be human and you just share that happened. And I think coming back to your superpower also means that you just tap into the small things that you really personally care about. Whether that was that walk that I talked about, or maybe go to a store and pick out an extra delicious tea that really makes you feel special and cared for, or call that friend that you feel has a good listening ear and tell them about it, that connection. I think that we all have ups and downs. It would be so weird if we just walk through the world constantly smiling, but we just need to kind of like on those instances kind of connect back with who we really are and maybe just, share. All right, so yeah, my mess is visible right now because I'm seem stressed out, and I just want to share that with you. And you'll be surprised how amazing it already feels saying this out loud, because you're sharing it with a room, and then the audience might actually let them know that they had experienced the same, or maybe something that you shared with them the other day that helped them feel a little bit better when they struggled themselves. There are so many ways that we feel we always need to show up. We need to be perfect, but we're not actors. Coaches are essentially really, teachers. And I think you need to teach others that we need to be vulnerable and we need to show our visibility that way as well.
Thank you. What are some great techniques to bring yourself back to love and joy when you're feeling down, so that you can get back into your superpower? Because, for example, for me, like last night, I stayed up until 3:30 in the morning because I just felt a bit like, love is in the air. And then like for no reason at all, just like dancing in my room and just like had so much fun doing next to nothing. And then, like today I had this, business glitch thing that, took me down completely. And then like, I'm feeling great again. But it's like this yo-yo thing of, feeling in my superpower and then kind of down, and then feeling in my superpower and down. And you did say, we can't be like these robots or actors with this as our real life. But are there any techniques to kind of bring ourselves back to love, joy, or any other emotion that you feel could be like uplifting and getting us back to our superpower?
Oh, for sure. And actually, we talked about it at the beginning of the podcast. That's when the small wins come in. So if you keep a diary, writing down it could be one small win, it could be two small wins, it could be three small wins per day. So on those days where you maybe feel, there was this technical glitch and now I'm really feeling like this is just not a good day, whatever, I know there was something that happened today that was really amazing. And by writing it down, it already diffuses the negative energy that you get from this other event right there. And again, it could be small. It could even be, I grabbed a new tea at the grocery store. That's the first. Second, while I grabbed the new tea, I ran into a friend in the grocery aisle. And third, when I looked for parking, somebody just pulled out as I was going through this very crowded parking lot. See, like all this was very simple, but at the same time, it's like, you know what, life's not so bad. This was actually kind of a good experience today. So you need to put things in perspective that all these small little wins matter, and they will create a bigger impact, more positive momentum. Because if you get used to writing this down on a daily basis, you start to search for these positive moments in your life. You become like the squirrel of positivity, so to speak, and you start to notice them. It's just a muscle you need to train, and it will help you in maybe those happiness and sadness swings to become even more in tune with your superpower. And I think that's really where the magic comes in.
Thank you. Is there any way to actually stop feeling disappointed so quickly and easily and remain more in my superpower?
Oh, I'm the same way. I think that I'm a very energetic person. And when I'm like, sometimes like, oh no, I'm like so bummed out about it. And then some other days I'm like super joyful about it. I'm exactly the same way. I think that, again, just sharing that, today is a moment of joy, or today I'm like, oh, I'm kind of upset about it. It's totally fine. And I think what really for me the magic is that I discovered. So I do Pilates, for instance. I love reading. I love walking outside. That I know there are moments of calm that take off the edge a little bit when I'm really stressed out. Or there are these amazing meetings like with you right now where I'm really feeling connected, even though we're on opposite parts of the world. But it still brings a smile to your face. And it's something that, might have otherwise been kind of like a day. But now I'm like, this was a super amazing podcast host and she did such a great job. So there are just these moments where you're feeling like you need to sprinkle in those events into your day. So make your calendar look a little bit like a fruit salad. So schedule that walk, schedule the reading, schedule the podcast episode, whatever it is, those things that bring you joy, just for the fact that in case this day turns out upside down and becomes super negative, you have these little buffers of joy in between there that will keep you anchored.
Thank you. How can I stop allowing disappointment to linger for too long? Let's say for many days, because I have had times in my life when I was depressed for years, and it took me a really long time to kind of get back into although you can say that I organized events with hundreds of people, I met extraordinary people, I had got amazing opportunities, I got invited to amazing events, I had, dance events, I was singing at events. Nobody would have known that I'm depressed, but I was. So how does someone come back to their superpower in a way that they don't let the negative emotions linger on in the background while they pretend they're okay?
Oh, I love this question so much because I think we've all had that. I think what helps is to look a little bit at perspective and maybe even sit down and write a letter from your future self to your current self. So I actually have in one of my books, we do this as an exercise to future self writing to current self being depressed and really struggling with, negative emotion. Then you need to think, is that something that's really going to matter, say, in 5 or 10 years? The way that I feel right now, even though I'm right now feeling this is the worst day of my life. But what would my future self tell me? That future self that's radiant and glowing and super happy. What would that future self tell me? Maybe not to be so hard on myself, and maybe not striving for perfectionism, but just being okay with the fact that it got done, and it didn't get done perfectly. But remember, first attempt in learning, right? And I think that frequently, you talking to yourself is even something that we need to practice, making it more like our best friend is talking to ourselves, that we become a little bit easier on ourselves and use language that's kind and generous and loving instead of really being hard on ourselves and being our own worst critique.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
My website, drchristiane.com. And then, of course, my podcast, Happy, Healthy, Hustle. And all my books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you can find them. I do one-on-one coaching, helping authors, writers, and creative entrepreneurs in going through their journey and finding their superpower.
Thank you. Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.